Hello, everybody. Welcome to All That and Then Some with Dewana. I'm Dewana. If this is your first time here, hey, y'all. Hey, how you doing? Do me a favor and go ahead and just get it out the way. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. You see it? I put it right here. Put it right there. Yeah. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button so that you can get into All That is All That and Then Some with Dewana, aka Pocket Change Style with Dewana, aka Dewana. What I do here, this is your first time here, what I do here is I tell stories from my past that have made me the woman I am today and are making me the woman that God has always intended me to do, day by day, year by year, all the way up until the time that he calls me home. And I like to do that by using the word of the day. But today, I'm doing something different. I'm going to do a story time. This is a story that has been 5 years in the making, but I felt like it was only right. I don't even know if I'm ready to tell this story, to be all the way honest. I don't want to cry, but I feel emotional thinking about it and going back and reading some stuff. I don't know how it's going to go. But my story time is the loss of my love. Greg Scott Jr., his birthday is Friday, December 3rd. He would be 48 years old if he were still alive, but he was tragically killed in a hit and run accident back on September 2nd of 2016. And he was my last boyfriend. And the last time that I saw him was on September 1st of 2016. So I want to tell that story and I want to celebrate him today and on his birthday. I hope to get this out by his birthday if I can get through it. So just bear with me. All right? All right. I'm already messing up, so I don't know. I don't know, y'all. I don't know. All right, so I didn't put on no makeup. I don't wear makeup anyway other than lipstick. I didn't put on no lashes. I put on the biggest wig I could find to try to hide my eyes just in case I start crying because who knows, I may look hard, but I'm a very emotional person, okay? Okay. All right, so let's talk about how I met Greg. I met Greg, to be all the way honest, back when I was like 14 years old, working at a Sizzler. He worked there too. I mean, he was the guy that everybody wanted, he was just so cute and he was so funny and he had these really big dimples and I had a major crush on him when I was younger, but he didn't pay me any attention. Fast forward 20 plus years later in 2016. 2016 was a very, it was a year of change for me. I had decided in 2016, sometime in the beginning of 2016, that I could no longer live with my children. I no longer drank. I didn't want to be around weed. I didn't want to be around anything that reminded me of the person who I was. And, I pretty much raised my kids doing those things with me. So, they were grown and I just needed to be on my own. God had been telling me since 2014, I had to let my hands off of my children. I needed to go on my own. I needed to break free, and I just kept putting off. Anyway, I did it. That's another TikTok thing. But I did it. So I believe in April of 2016, I started renting rooms. I rented a room with one of my friends. And let me get to the story because I don't want this to be like an hour long. I don't even want it to be a half hour long. For real. I don't. But we'll see how it goes. So I went up to a Dollar General and I had on one of my big Afro wigs. Like, I love big hair. So this wig was like, I think my hair was like out here. And I remember walking out of the Dollar General and he walked past me and he had said something like, "What you got all that hair for?" And I was like, "Who you talking to? Like, you don't know me." So I'm thinking, he don't remember me. Like, by this time I was, 5 years ago, I was 42 years old. Like, I hadn't seen him since I was 14. He don't know who I am. He was like, I remember you. What's your name? He asked me my name. I gave him my name. I said, oh, we used to work together a long time ago. Boom, 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 because of course, when you got that first crush, when you was a little teeny bopper, and you see him again, that crush ain't going away. You still looking at him, you're like, God, the boy still look good. You know what I mean? He did. So I gave him, asked me, we talked for a little bit. He asked for my phone number. Kept it moving. I was like, if he calls, he calls. If he don't, he don't. I don't care, because by this time I have been abstinent for like 2.5, I believe almost 2 years. I have been abstinent. So I was like, ain't not gonna happen no way. I ain't doing nothing with nobody. I ain't get with no man. My next man that I'm with is gonna be my husband. I don't got no time for that. Boom. Didn't think nothing about it. So that was April. May comes around, I get this phone call, and usually I don't pick up numbers I don't know. But for some reason, I picked this number up, and it's him on the phone. And he's like, I'm at the bus station in Georgetown, and I found your number in my pocket. I just had to call you. And let me tell you why. We talked that first day for like 3 hours. All right? Like straight up 3 hours. And he was just so intelligent. And he just really opened up to me about his life. And, one of the first things I said was, he was like, I really want to, get to know you and all that kind of stuff. And this is before I knew whatever problems he was having, I didn't really know. And truthfully, I didn't care. This is my crush. I'm doing this. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to talk to him regardless of what's wrong with him. So, but that 3-hour conversation was like so deep. And I was like, when I hung up, I was like, I heard like something in my head say, okay, this is it. So of course in my head, I'm like, oh my God, God has just told me that this is it. This is the one. All right, DeWanda, this got to be it. All right, boom. We meet each other. And we have a face-to-face conversation. Now, mind you, let me rewind real quick. When we was on the phone for those first 3 hours, I told him, I said, look, if you want to get to know me, that's fine. We can date or whatever. I said, but as far as, sex, I'm not doing the sex thing. That's not in me. I made a promise to God that I will wait for my husband. This, that, He was cool with that, but he was like, I have a feeling I'm going to fall in love with you. And then that's this. And I was like, boy, you don't even know me like that. You've been on the phone with me for 3 hours, whatever. So when we met in person, we talked again for like hours. We just sat around, like, no lie. I went to his dad's house. He came outside and sat in my car. And we sat in my car for, I swear, 3 to 4 hours talking, okay? And y'all know I use the word of the day. I love words. I really love big words. And I love when people know how to use words. You understand me? So he had said something. He was like, I don't want you to think, I'm playing. I'm not joking around. This is something different. I've never felt like this before. Blase, blase, blah. And I swear he said something about onomatopoeia. And I was like, what? And he said it in the right context. Like the sentence that he used onomatopoeia in, it worked. You understand? So right then I was like, Lord, I'm going to drop my drawers. I said it in my head. I did. I said it in my head. I said, Lord, he uses big words and he uses them right. Are you coming from a girl here that somebody can write where you at and it'll be WEAR? Okay? Okay? And I've corrected them over and over again, but they will still send the where you at, WEAR. So you get somebody who can use onomatopoeia in a sentence and it is right? Oh, drawers are getting dropped. Period. But I didn't drop them. Okay? Yeah. Okay? Yeah. But we just had this wonderful conversation, And then ever since then, as of like May, we were together every single day. And he would just talk, and he would just talk about the life that he would want to have. And the life that he saw me and him having together and all of this. And then all of a sudden, like a week or so went by and I didn't hear from him. I don't know how. I don't know how, because I was living with a friend of mine. I don't remember if I gave him my number, if he called me, and I gave him my address. I don't know how it happened, but I got a letter. He was in jail. Okay? I got like this 5-page letter. And I was like, oh, okay, that's why I haven't heard from... I think his sister had called me and told me, you know, Greg wanted me to tell you he's in jail. And then maybe I gave her my address. I really don't remember. It's been over 5 years now. But, so I gave him... I got this 5-page letter. And, you know, what's so crazy was I can't find the letter now, which is crazy. I kept those letters for a long time. I mean, he wrote me more than one letter. And he was only in there for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But he wrote these letters. So what I'm not telling you is he was an alcoholic. He was a really bad alcoholic, like bad. He was an alcoholic where he lived on the street, alcoholic, you know. He would be in front of the liquor store asking people for $1, alcoholic. I did not know all this before, you know, when I first saw him. And what's so crazy, me and his sister were friends, and when she found out that we were talking, because he told her, you know, oh, I'm talking to this girl, getting to know this girl, Dewana. She was like, Dewana, oh, hold on a minute. And she got in my inbox, honey, and was like, you're a woman of God. You don't need to deal with my brother. My brother got problems, you know. I'm just setting, I don't want you to be hurt, blase, blase, blase. And I was like, all right, but you know what? You don't know what, you know, in my head I was saying, you don't know what I heard. You know what I'm saying? I felt like it was the reason why he was brought into my life. You know what I'm saying? And when I found out all his problems, I was like, okay, well, I've had these same type of problems. I was alcoholic, you know, I'm an alcoholic too. You know, I just haven't drank. You know, God delivered me from my alcoholism, you know, but maybe this is what I'm supposed to do, you know, and that's one of my problems. I think that I'm always supposed to fix somebody, you know, but I ain't like that no more. But that's, you know, I went right back into that mentality of, oh, okay, it's my job to get him right, and he's going to get right for me. And mind you, he would talk about it, you know, and I would tell him, you know, I can't be with you if you're going to be, you know, drinking. This has to be something that you're going to have to get together, you know, let's go to a rehab, let's get you in a rehab program and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, I really, really made sure he understood that I could not be with an alcoholic. I just couldn't, because I couldn't go back. I know I personally couldn't go back. So he went to jail, and he was talking about all the things he was going to do when he came out of jail. You know, that jail talk, what they do. You know how that is. And I feel like I'm about to get emotional real quick, so I need to take a break real quick. So I just don't really think I'm ready to share this story. But I feel such an urgency of having to share it. So I'm just going to keep going. So, you know, once I found out that he was an alcoholic and everything, when he went to jail, I figured, okay, here's a clean slate. You know, he's going to have to detox in there. And hopefully when he gets out, he'll be on the straight and narrow, you know. So he got out, and I had to go pick him up, which is like maybe a 45-minute to an hour drive to go pick him up. So when I went to go pick him up, it was in Maryland. In fact, he was locked up in Maryland. So I went to pick him up, and he came out of the store with a beer can. And I remember thinking, no, it wasn't even something that I thought. I remember hearing a voice in my head say, well, now you have to make a decision. You have to tell him a story, you know, which is so crazy right now. I can't remember the story that I told him, but I remember as soon as he got into the car, I was like, you have a beer? Like, seriously, you haven't had a beer for like three weeks that you was in there. Like, all of a sudden, as soon as you get out, you got money from who? I don't know. And you got a beer, you know. And I was upset, you know, driving home crying, and the Lord put a story on my heart. So, you know, I shared with him how told him a story about when I was drunk, and things I used to do to my kids when I was drunk, and a lot of memories I have are blacked out. And I swear to you, I told a story that I didn't even remember. You know, it just like the story was dropped in my head of something I didn't even know that I did. And I was, God's giving you a choice in life. You know, you're either gonna have to decide to go with Him or keep down the path that you're going. You know, but if you want to be with me, I'm going with Him. So, so he decided that he wanted to try to quit on his own with my help. So there was 1 week that I was on vacation. I think this was probably like in July, end of July, beginning of August. Like, so up until all that, like between May, June, July, when he wasn't in jail, we were hanging out every day. You know, he pretty much moved in with me at my friend's house, you know. And we just did everything together, you know. And I was going to school still, you know, and he would help me with my homework. And it was just like, it was like an instant connection, you know. It was like we knew each other. If people saw us, I remember my kids saying, when my kids first met him, my kids were like, it's like y'all been together for a long time. Because we just had that kind of rapport, like we had been together for a long time. But I took a vacation, and we decided during my vacation, we were going to try to do a detox and all that kind of stuff. And that was really hard. Like, I tried my hardest, you know. He would be like shaking, and I never had really experienced that. And like, he would be laying there drenched in sweat, and I would just place my hand on him. I would start praying and stuff, asking God to take away his want for alcohol, you know. And he got better. Like, he wasn't drinking liquor, you know. He would have 1 or 2 beers or whatever. So that's how it went on, you know. And I felt, okay, we were on the up and up, you know. We would go visit his dad. You know, his dad saw a change in him. His sister saw a change in him. We would go visit his dad on the regular. Then he started talking about marriage and us getting married. And, you know, if he had met me 20 plus years ago, how his life would have been different. Because I've opened his eyes to, you know, a lot of different things, but he doesn't realize, and this is why I wanted to get this out there, that he opened my eyes to a lot of different things, because I had just been so used to using sex as a way to get with men, and that's where my relationships were stemmed from, a sexual place. And with him, it was the first time I had a relationship with somebody that was based off of an intellectual place, you know, a personality place, a communication standpoint. Sex was the last thing, you know. Now, mind you, it happened, you know. And I'm going to let y'all know this. When I did it, I cried like a baby after it was over, because I felt so bad that I did it. I felt so bad. I was like, oh my God, I haven't done this in like 2.5 years. And here I am, a month and a half later, laid up in bed with this man. But, you know, he told me it's not going to make a difference because you're going to be my wife. So, I'm going to get through this. So, that's how it went. It went like that from May to July, beginning of August. And then I think what happened was I got a little too lax, you know. Like, he would have some beers, I was okay with that. He would get more beers, I would be okay with that. As long as he wasn't tripping, you know, it was just me and him, I was okay with it. I wasn't drinking, he was drinking. I felt like I'm around him, I'm not drinking, I'm good, you know. But I remember there was a moment when I remember God speaking to me saying, you know, you're going to have to make a choice. And I kept hearing that, like, pretty much all of August. I kept hearing that, you're going to have to make a choice. And truthfully, to be honest with you, I didn't know what my choice was going to be. Because he fell in love with me, and in that short period of time, I fell in love with him. Regardless of his flaws and whatever his flaws were, he treated me like I had never been treated before. You understand? He looked at me in a way that I had never been looked at by a man. And this don't mean, I mean, I could just be sitting there, we could just be sitting there watching TV. And the way he looked at me, I knew that that look he was giving me was a look of, I'm in love with this person. And I can't believe it. And he would say that, I can't believe it took me this long to find you, you know. What a life we could have had if we had just saw each other before, you know. And I would say the same thing. So I was like, God, you know, you didn't bring him into my life for me to lose him, you know. Let's fast forward to my birthday was on August 27th of 2016. We were having a little party, get together at my friend's house. He bought me an ice cream cake, and he was just so excited. He was going to cook dinner for me. We're going to have a little get together at my friend's house. I told him, no. On my actual birthday, my birthday was on Friday. Okay, it was just me and him. He had a couple drinks. I decided, okay, it's my birthday. I'm gonna have a couple drinks with you. And let me tell you how God works. So let me tell you, this is exactly how God works. I drank, but I didn't get drunk. Now, mind you, I hadn't drank in I don't know how long. So truthfully, after like one sip or even like one beer, I should have been a little bit tipsy. No. Second beer, didn't feel nothing. I think I took some alcohol. I think I drank some alcohol. I think he had E&J or something like that. I was drinking that, didn't feel nothing, because God literally took the taste of alcohol out. Like he took I can't get drunk anymore. That's pretty much, I feel like God just erased, like he just eradicated that out of my body. So I stopped, after a while, I stopped drinking. I was like, this is just a waste of, you know, this is a waste of alcohol, really. I'm drinking, I'm not getting drunk. What's the use, you know? But I think from that, me finally drinking something, it was like a click went off in his head saying, she's okay with me drinking. Okay? And he just, the night of my birthday, we had such a great time. We spent the day together by ourselves. We sat in my room and danced and all the kind of stuff. And we sang songs together. And I had all this stuff on my Snapchat, but back then that's when I first started using Snapchat. I didn't know that you could save everything. Nothing saved. He used to always want to take pictures with me. I never wanted to take any pictures. Why? I don't know, but I didn't. But we had such a good night that night. I had lost, we went to the Wawa, came all the way back home. I couldn't find my purse. I thought I left my purse at Wawa. We went back to the Wawa. It wasn't there. We drove down the highway and he saw my purse in the middle of the street. And he made me pull over on the side of the road, and he was in the middle of the highway picking up all the stuff that fell out of my purse, like my wallet, credit cards were all over the high. It was so bad the cops came, okay? The cops came around and were like, what are you doing? He was like, my girl left her, you know, her purse on top of the car. I'm just out here getting all her stuff. It's her birthday. The cops started helping. You know, he was just such a charismatic, loving person, you know. And that was my birthday. And maybe a couple weeks before my birthday, I want to talk about this, I had took him to a Bible study of a church that I was going to. And as soon as we walked into the church, he walked up to the altar. Child, you want to do you understand what that did to me? I was like, this street nigga just walked into this church, telling me, like, you know, he ain't been in church and he don't know how many years, this, that. And all I did was talk about God can do this, God can do that. He's done this for me, he can do this for you. Boom, boom, boom. I love God, I love God, I love God. I want you to come to a Bible study. He was like, I'm going to go with you. I want to go with you to a Bible study. We went to the Bible study. We sat down. I swear no more than 5 minutes later, he was up at the altar. I was like, Lord, oh my God, you're going to work on him. Yes, come through, God, come through. I knew I heard you right. He is the one. Okay, so let's fast forward back to my birthday. So that's what he did for my birthday. Then the next day was my party on the 28th. So I think that what happened when I drank on my birthday, I think in his head, he thought that meant it was okay for him to go like buck wild crazy again with his drinking. So he got like really drunk the night of my party. I ended up getting mad at him, dropping him off. The next day, I picked him up and I told him that we could no longer be together. I told him that I could not be in a relationship with him unless he went and got help for himself. And that was the hardest thing that I could ever have done, because I know what we had was real, you know what I'm saying? And it was just this one thing, you know, it was just this one thing. And I swore I could help, and I swore I could change it. And I think I opened up the floodgates, you know. So I told him we needed some time apart, you know, him to figure out what he wants to do or whatever. And he would call me every so many days. Every day he would call me, you know. And after a while, I just stopped picking up. So August 28th comes around, 29th comes around. September 2nd, 2016 was a Friday. Thursday night, he had called, and I didn't, well, Thursday afternoon, I had picked him up. I hadn't seen him in a couple of days. So this was like September 1st. So mind you, the last time I saw him was on the 29th. So what is that? 2 days later, he called me, and he just sounded really bad. I picked him up, and he said he just wanted to take a shower, get some rest, blase, blase. Got him home. I got him undressed. I got him in the shower because he just looked so disheveled, you know. And he still had, like, I guess he was at the hospital. He still had, like, the hospital things on his body. I took them off, helped him wash up. He laid down for a couple hours. I went to class. I came home. And he got dressed. And I remember driving in town and dropping him off. And on the way, and this is so crazy. And all right, so I remember on the ride home, I don't know where this came from, but I remember telling him that Thursday, if you just go and walk into the hospital and tell them that, you know, you have a problem and you want help. As many times you've been there, they know you. You know, they'll probably get you in a rehab program, an inpatient rehab, and you can get your life back, you know. And he was like, I'm going to do it, you know, I'm really going to try to do it. I was like, go there now. I said, I could take you, you know, I could take you right now. I believe I was going to another class. That's what it was. I was a break between classes, and I had like another class that night. So I went and picked him up. He took a shower. We took a nap. And then he was going on his way, and I was going to class. Okay, that's it. I was like, after I got out of class, I said, I can take you now, drop you off at the hospital right now. He was like, no, just drop me off down the corner. I'm going to go there, blah, blah, blah. Don't give up, you know. Don't give up on me just yet, blah, 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 you know. But I was so adamant on talking about, you know, him getting help and everything. But that whole month of August, I kept hearing in my head, you're going to have to make a choice, right? And I already knew what my obvious choice was going to be. I was not going to pick him over God, you know, but I really thought that God really had my back on this one, you know. So my last time seeing him was on that day in September. And I remember looking out the car at him walk off, and I said, I just need you to go. I just need you to go to rehab. That's all I needed him to do, you know? And he just walked off down the street, and I went to class. But being that I felt he ignored me when I was talking about it, that night, he had called my phone continuously, and I refused to pick up. I didn't pick the phone up. And he left messages, and I remember the last message that he left. he was asking, could I come get him, and that he was going to get himself together. And I believe he was singing Usher, You Got It Bad or something. And, I just went to sleep because I had to go to work the next morning at 6 o'clock. So I got to work on September 2nd. And around maybe 6:30 or so, I saw that his dad had called me, but I was working, so I couldn't pick the phone up. So his dad had called me a couple different times, and I was like, I'll call him back. He's probably wondering where Greg is or whatever, So his dad inboxed me that he was found dead in the street and they believe that he was hit by a car and dragged 60 feet down the street. Can you imagine getting that in the inbox? Right? And ever since then, I think I've been in shock until right now. I've just been in shock ever since then, because truthfully, for a long time, I blamed myself. For a long time, I thought, well, if I picked the phone up and I went and picked him up, he would have been at my house and he would never been in no street. But he didn't go in the street because he had told me that he got hit by a car when he was riding his bike when he was younger. So he told me that he just didn't even trust streets, you know what I'm saying? But he already told me before that people was after him. He would always give me little hints that people was after him, But, I always thought, oh, he's just telling me stories or whatever. But, yeah, so, I went home and let me tell you this. Truthfully, at first I was thinking, God, did you think I was going to pick him over you? And is this what you did? I had all types of thoughts. And I felt like it was my fault because I just left him there on the street, And at one point, I talked to his sister, and his sister thinks that he might have been trying to get over to my side of town. He might have been walking to get to my house. And I'm like, no way. No way. I can't think, I can't think that he was trying to, because I didn't pick up the phone, but he was trying to make his way to my house on foot. I can't think that, But I thought that for a long time too. So I feel like I just shut it off. You know what I'm saying? I refused to cry about it. I just chalked it up to, well, that was 3 months out of my life. It showed me this, and I just blocked it out. But today I want to say that happy birthday, Greg. You meant so much to me. I've never met somebody that really got to know me for me and looked at me the way that he looked at me with so much love. You showed me what I want in a husband and what I don't want in a husband. I really learned that from you, just how affectionate you were. And that's not even on no sexual tip at all, because that was the last thing in our relationship. Let me be all the way honest. Our relationship was so much more about communication and laughing and sharing stories and just feeling free, to finally be able to be. I think that he was somebody who didn't really show a lot of emotions, He had his childhood, he had his whole story, and that ain't my story to tell, but he had his whole story of feeling out of place and the stuff that he shared with me, I don't know if he's ever shared that with another woman, you know? And in a little bit of time that we were together, it felt like eternity to me. And I just appreciate him, and I will always love him. So today I want to say happy birthday to him. And I know one thing your sister told me that I will always hold, and this is what holds me together now, and this is what has kept me all these years, is the fact that even if me and you weren't meant to be together, I was meant to come into your life because I was meant to show you God and God's love and how God can make a way, you know? And I know one thing your sister told me was, being with me, he never talked about God as much as he did with me. And she believes he accepted Jesus as his Lord and Savior. And if that's what I was meant to do, Lord, then I did it. You know, he's up there with you right now. I can't be more happy, you know. But sometimes, you know, I do wish he was here, because what if, you know, it's a lot of what ifs. And that's why I think I don't think about it, is because I don't want to think about the what ifs. Like, what if he did? You know, what if you had picked him up and that next day he went to a rehab and then he came out and then, you know, he had, let me tell you something, he had this whole wedding plan. Like, me, him and his dad sat in the backyard one day, and his dad was talking about cutting down this tree, and we can have the, you know, this can be over there, and the reception can be in this part of the backyard, and we can, you know, they had outfits picked out and all kind of stuff. I mean, it was serious. It was serious like that. And that short amount of time, it was serious like that. But happy birthday, Greg. I love you. And I hope that you're smiling down on me. I hope that you're not upset that it's taking me this long to tell this story. But I didn't even really tell as much as I really could have told, because I really wanted to keep a lot of it in here with me, you know. But I felt like I needed to share. Somebody out here needed to hear this story. It's okay to grieve. But if you know that you did all you could, what I've come to the realization is that I did all I could do and what I was meant to do for him. You know, he had to take the next step and do the things that he wanted to do for his life, and not for me, for him, you know. And I'm just forever grateful for him being a integral part of my life. I'm forever grateful for God for giving me the chance to be in his life. He made such a difference, and I'll never forget him. I'll never. And the man who comes into my house to become my husband, child, I mean, you got one good thing: if you don't drink, you're already up there. But I mean, you that point, you got that point. But everything else, you in some trouble, because he's a hard one to follow when it comes to everything else, you know. So happy birthday, Greg. If anybody's out here watching this, and if anybody has any information, it has been 5 years. The people who did this have yet to be found. I don't even know if the police is really working on it, to be honest. So if anybody has any information, I'm going to put the number to Crime Fighters down in the section. Please reach out, or you can reach out to me. You can email me. My email will be up on the screen. You can email me and tell me whatever information you want to tell, because let's get the people who took your life. You know, it wasn't there. That wasn't, if it was your time, that's no way to go. I love you. And happy birthday. I'm going to sing happy birthday. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Greg. Love you always. All right, y'all. That's all I got. I got to go ahead and get some more crying out. And I think I might journal a little bit tonight, too. All right. Don't forget, come back for more stories. I'm going to have more stories. More hauls, more everything. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. But until then, ladies, remember you're all that and then some, okay? Bye. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday.